Welcome to Module ACC WR 3.3, titled Style and Tone. As you continue your route, take a moment to consider the voice of the writing you are analyzing. If the previous modules were about the structure and efficiency of the essay, this module is about its personality. Style and tone refer to the author's attitude toward the subject and the level of formality they use to communicate with the reader. On the Accuplacer, you are being tested on your ability to maintain rhetorical consistency. A top-tier score requires you to identify when a writer has accidentally broken character by using a word or a sentence that does not match the established vibe of the passage. To master this module, we must first distinguish between style and tone, although they work closely together. Style is the how, the level of formality, the complexity of the sentences, and the choice of vocabulary. It ranges from casual to academic to technical. Tone is the what, the emotional atmosphere of the text. It can be objective, critical, skeptical, enthusiastic, or urgent. Most Accuplacer passages are written in a formal, objective style. Any deviation from this professional standard is usually an error that you must fix. The first major concept you must master is the level of formality. This is the most common way style is tested. Academic writing has specific rules that distinguish it from everyday conversation. The test makers will insert a casualism into a formal paragraph and ask you to choose the most appropriate revision. A casualism is a word or phrase that you might use with a friend but should never use in a college essay. Listen to these translations for your audio learning. To achieve a top score, you must move from the left side of this list, casual, to the right side, formal. Instead of a bunch of, use numerous or a significant quantity of. Instead of kind of or sort of, use somewhat or to a degree. Instead of get across, use convey or articulate. Instead of thing, use concept, phenomenon or factor. Instead of cool or great, use innovative, effective, or commendable. Instead of a lot, use frequently or extensively. On the test, you might see a sentence like this in a passage about urban planning. The city council thought the new park was a really cool idea because it gave people a lot of stuff to do. As an editor, your record scratch alarm should go off. Cool, a lot of, and stuff are style errors. The correct revision would be: the City Council regarded the new park as an innovative project because it provided residents with numerous recreational opportunities. Notice how the formal version is more precise and professional. It maintains the academic style. The second major concept is the tone shift trap. This is the most frequent question type in this module. The test will give you a 4-sentence paragraph. Sentences 1, 2, and 4 will be perfectly professional. Sentence 3 will suddenly become overly emotional, informal, or sarcastic. Imagine a passage about a scientific discovery regarding honeybees. Sentence 1: researchers have recently identified a specific enzyme that helps honeybees navigate long distances. Sentence 2: this discovery could have profound implications for agricultural efficiency. Sentence 3: it is honestly about time these scientists figured something out because the bees have been struggling forever. Sentence 4: further studies are required to determine if this enzyme can be synthesized. Sentence 3 is a tone disaster. It uses subjective language like honestly, figured something out, and forever. It breaks the objective, clinical tone of the rest of the passage. The test will ask, which sentence should be revised to maintain the tone of the passage? The answer is sentence 3. A top-tier editor knows that a passage must have seamless uniformity. You cannot switch from being a scientist to being a grumpy commentator in the middle of a paragraph. The third concept is audience calibration. Every piece of writing has a target audience, and the style must match that audience's expectations. If the passage is a letter to the editor, the tone might be persuasive and urgent. If it is a laboratory report, the tone must be detached and empirical. If it is a narrative essay, the tone might be reflective and evocative. When you encounter a style and tone question, ask yourself, who is the author talking to? If the author is talking to the general public about a serious issue, the tone should be accessible but respectful. If the author is talking to other experts, the tone should be technical and precise. A common trap is the overformalization error. This is when an author uses words that are so complex and archaic that they actually hinder communication. If an author uses thou or hitherto in an essay about modern smartphones, that is a style error. Style should be appropriate, not pretentious. The fourth pillar is identifying the author's stance. Tone is the fingerprint of the author's opinion. Even in objective writing, there is usually a subtle tone. You must be able to categorize this tone using tone labels. Objective, or neutral, means the author is just giving facts without taking a side. Laudatory, or appreciative, means the author thinks the subject is great. Look for words like brilliant, pioneer, or success. Critical or skeptical means the author has doubts. Look for words like questionable, unproven, or limited. Cynical means the author believes people are only motivated by selfishness. Nostalgic means the author is looking back at the past with sadness or longing. On the accuplacer, you must match your revision to the author's stance. If the author is clearly skeptical about a new technology, do not choose a revision that uses the word magnificent. That would violate the tone. Choose a word like ambitious or notable, which acknowledges the effort without giving full praise. The fifth pillar is syntax as style. Syntax is a fancy word for sentence structure. A formal style typically uses longer, more complex sentences with multiple clauses. An informal or urgent style uses short, punchy sentences. Consider the difference. Informal, the storm hit. The lights went out, we were scared. Formal, when the storm made landfall, the power grid failed, leaving the residents in a state of significant apprehension. Both tell the same story, but the second one uses subordination and complex diction to create a more sophisticated style. If you are editing a formal essay and you see 3 short, choppy sentences, the test might ask you to most effectively combine them. The goal is to create a complex sentence that matches the formal style of the rest of the passage. The sixth pillar involves connotative precision. We discussed this in the precision module, but in style and tone, it takes on a new meaning. The color of your words creates the tone. Imagine an author writing about a politician. If they call the politician calculated, the tone is suspicious. If they call the politician strategic, the tone is respectful. If they call the politician smart, the tone is simple. A top score student will look at the other adjectives in the paragraph. If the other adjectives are cunning and deceptive, then calculated is the correct stylistic choice to maintain the suspicious tone. Consistency is the key to this module. Let us discuss the cliché trap. A cliché is a tired, overused expression like think outside the box, at the end of the day, or the grass is always greener. Clichés are a sign of lazy style. In a formal academic essay, clichés should be avoided. If an answer choice offers a cliché as a revision, it is almost certainly wrong. Look for the choice that expresses the same idea using original and precise language. Instead of think outside the box, choose approach the problem from a non-traditional perspective. Another high-level trap is jargon management. Jargon is the specialized language of a specific group, like synergy in business or mitosis in biology. Using too much jargon can make the style opaque, hard to see through. If a passage is intended for a general audience, you should choose revisions that define the technical terms or use more common equivalents. However, if the passage is technical, keep the jargon. Style is always context-dependent. Now let us discuss the personal pronoun rule in formal style. In most academic writing, you should avoid I, me, my, you, and your. This is called third-person objectivity. Instead of saying, I believe that the experiment proves, say, the results of the experiment demonstrate. Instead of saying, you can see that, say, it is evident that. By removing the self and the reader, you make the style more authoritative and objective. If you see a you or an I in a formal passage, it is often a stylistic flaw that needs to be removed. The final pillar of this module is irony and satire. Occasionally, the accuplacer will provide a passage that is sarcastic or ironic. In these cases, the author says the opposite of what they mean to make a point. If the author is being ironic, a formal, objective answer choice might actually be wrong because it misses the point of the humor. You must identify the underlying intent. If the author is clearly making fun of a silly new fashion trend, the tone should be mocking or satirical. How do you tackle these questions on Tuesday? Use the consistency audit. Step 1. Read the first 2 sentences to establish the base formality and base tone. Step 2. As you read the rest of the passage, listen for the outlier. Look for the word that is too casual, too emotional, or too complex compared to the B. S. Step 3. When looking at answer choices, eliminate anything that is a style collision. If the passage is a serious history of the Civil War, eliminate choices like the soldiers were super bummed or the battle was a total fail. As you move through your neighborhood on your route, think of style and tone as the appropriate attire for an occasion. If you show up to a wedding in a swimsuit, that is a style error. If you show up to a funeral laughing loudly, that is a tone error. In your writing test, if a formal essay uses the word cool, it's wearing a swimsuit to a wedding. If a neutral science report uses "it's about time," it's laughing at a funeral. Your job is to make sure the attire of the words matches the occasion of the essay. To summarize the essential strategies for module ACC WR 3.3. First, maintain formal diction. Replace casual words like stuff or a lot with numerous or substantial. Second, identify and fix tone shifts. Ensure the emotional intensity remains consistent throughout the paragraph. Third, prioritize third-person objectivity. Avoid I and you in formal academic passages. Fourth, match your word choice to the author's stance. Use positive words for a laudatory tone and skeptical words for a critical tone. Fifth, avoid clichés. Choose original, precise phrasing over overused expressions. Sixth, use complex syntax, subordination, and varied sentence lengths to reflect a sophisticated academic style. Seventh, recognize objective tone as the default for most passages, which means avoiding emotional or hyperbolic language. Eighth, ensure that technical jargon is appropriate for the target audience. Ninth, use the consistency audit to spot and revise the outlier, sentence, or word. By mastering style and tone, you are demonstrating rhetorical maturity. You are showing that you understand the social and professional rules of communication. This ability to adapt your voice to different contexts is what will allow you to navigate the diverse requirements of college courses at Hudson Valley, from creative writing to scientific research. This concludes our deep dive into module ACC WR 3.3. You are becoming a master of the atmosphere of writing. When you are ready to explore the grammar of the sentence, our next target is module ACC WR 3.4, syntax. Just say the word next when you are ready to proceed.